it to the 4th episode of my colonoscopy ileoscopy series. So thank you for dealing with me for so long. Alright, so this video is going to be about the results of the colonoscopy, ileoscopy, and dilation, as well as the recommendations from my doctor. So I really love it because I was given my results right after my scope, which was awesome. They verbally told me what had gone on, but also gave me a paper copy with pictures. So that's the first time I've ever had that happen, and that was awesome. So for my small intestine, they said they went in about 50 centimeters with the camera through my stoma and looked around. And it looked like the only area with what they called erosions was towards the stoma, actually. They look like white, gray, yellowy spots. I don't really know what erosions are, but they're apparently not a big deal. But the rest of my small intestine looked beautiful, like you could frame it, put it on your wall. It could be used in textbooks for the normal small intestine appearance. My intestines could be famous. But yeah, it looked really good, and my doctor was quite surprised because I've been off of medications for a very long time, at least 6 years at this point. I weaned myself off of pretty much everything. So my small intestine is beautiful, and it sounds like basically how he referred to it is I have ileocolitis, so like disease in the ileum of the small intestine and disease in the colon, but you know, everything else chills out. I had my follow-up just a few days ago, so that's why I waited to make this series of videos so I could have everything all together and the plan and all of that. Basically, the way that he described it is that my risk for flare, because of the very, very little that I have, is maybe 25%. He said if it was a patient with more active inflammation, he said, yeah, flare is probably more like 75% likely to happen. So he said at this point, we're going to hold off on meds, and I was totally agreeable to that. The risks that come along with some of these meds may be greater than my chance of flare. So I was like, I'm cool with that. That made me really happy, and I'm just like, go you, small intestine. Like, good job. Thank you for cooperating. Yeah, that's what happened with my small intestine and the ileoscopy. The colonoscopy, however, did not happen. Yeah, so my stricture was measured to be about 6 millimeters in diameter. That's pretty dang small. And he only felt comfortable dilating to about 10 millimeters. He said, you know, there could be risk for bleeding, for some tears, and worse perforation. So I was totally okay with that, particularly because of how great I felt afterwards. Also, the dilation alone cost me $12 with my insurance, so I was like, I'm okay with that if we have to do this again. Unfortunately, from my understanding, the camera would not go through the stricture, or he just didn't feel comfortable pushing it through the stricture. So I still don't know what the rest of my colon looks like. I do have the results from the MRI though, and it seems like most of the diseasey, stricture-y fibrousness is right where my stricture that we know about is. So that was kind of the result there, and he said that medications would not work for the fibrous tissue that makes up the stricture anyway, which I've known that for years because they would have put me on something a long time ago if they thought it would help. But unfortunately, the damage has been done there, and it's kind of like that. It's kind of like a scar, like you can't undo it. So I mean, I know that it's never going to be normal, and that's why I said I'm okay with having my ostomy for the rest of my life. And my doctor knows that, so. The follow-up appointment happened probably about 2 weeks, maybe a little bit less than that, after, you know, the scopes had been done. And what I will say is that when I got home from having this dilation done, I had my normal, like, oh, I feel like I have to go to the bathroom, but it was successful. So I went to the bathroom, and I did have a lot of blood. I had a really good amount of blood come out of me, but also I cleared way more mucus than I normally would. I typically clear about maybe a teaspoon per day, and I cleared at least 3 or 4 tablespoons And that was just one time. So I kept going back to the bathroom that day and just like clearing it out. I noticed that my bloating has gone down. I feel lighter and like a feather. I just feel better. And so when I went back to that follow-up appointment, I told him this. I said it actually has helped me quite a bit. I can tell that the stricture has already shrunk because I'm not getting the mucus out as easy, but I'm still getting it out. And he said, that's fine, let's do this again in 4 months. So I have an appointment in October to go back and get re-dilated and hopefully be able to have some sort of scope done then. It looked like it was a flex sig, so hopefully that'll happen. And we're hoping that maybe we can space it out to once every 6 months. I don't know about that. We'll see how I feel. And I'm sure that if, you know, he wanted to push it to 6 months and I started to not feel that great earlier, I'm sure that he would be fine to take me in quicker. And I'm totally okay with this plan. Had it been like I felt before when they used to do these dilations, it was a production. And I would be knocked out afterwards. But I told my doctor after this one, we went home. Zach went upstairs to take a nap. I started gardening. I was outside looking at my tomatoes, looking at my cucumbers, plucking those weeds. Just kidding, I don't weed. It's too much, it's too much. But yeah, I was doing things. I was eating. I was, you know, watching TV on the couch. I was like hanging out. I felt really good. And I think that I could get away with having the day of the procedure off, taking the day after off, and then like resuming normal functions and doing that every 4 months. Like, I only work 2 days a week and my other job is super flexible and I can do it, you know, sitting on the couch. So yeah, like I could totally do that. I thought I was gonna feel awful like I used to, but I really didn't. So I was very happy with that. The results of this procedure were great and also like not the best, but I'll take it. Like, we all knew my stricture was still there, and for everything to basically be looking as stable as it has been, like, that is a long freaking time for what used to be considered a severe Crohn's patient. That's a long time for somebody to be going off of meds and be looking that great. They also did biopsies on the ileoscopy, and it looked like the results of those were pretty consistent with how they looked macroscopically. Hopefully that sounds right to you guys. So if it looked bad just looking at it on a picture or through the scope, it looked bad under the microscope. If it was a good looking piece of intestine, it looked good under the microscope. Sorry that's not more scientific for you. So yeah, my plan is to follow up with him in October, get another dilation, follow up, like do a follow-up appointment with him a couple weeks later. I'm also being consulted to a urologist because of my funky kidney issue. I'm at a greater risk of getting kidney stones now. But who knows, I may have had this since birth. I'm just getting a consult with one of them, and that'll be actually the same day with, you know, as when I see my GI. And the last thing I need to do is get a DEXA scan. Basically, that is a bone density scan. I had a bunch done previously. I was part of a study called Healthy Vibrations that was done, I don't know if it was done anywhere else, but it was done at my hospital. And part of it was getting frequent bone density scans just to see how it was improving, because it was all about your bone density and improving it. So I will be at some point getting another one of those, but I can get that done anywhere. I don't have to go to the city to get this one done. Thank goodness, because that is a drive, even though I do it when I go to work, but whatever. So yeah, overall, I am very happy. I'm feeling quite a bit better. And I guess that's just, you know, nothing's changed. Keep getting those dilations, Maggie. Don't play around with that stricture. So I'm very happy. I am so surprised that my small intestine has behaved as well as it has. And those little areas of erosions might be the reason I was having blockages, but you know, I just have to be a little bit easier on my diet and make sure that I'm chewing my food first of all, but also eating foods that are appropriate for somebody with an ostomy, because you know, raw broccoli really isn't appropriate. And I guess I was lucky all those years. I don't know. So I'm just going to be careful with my diet. Make sure I'm preparing for like the hot weather we're having and keeping hydrated. And, you know, I'm watching out for my ostomies output to see if it continues to like randomly keep increasing and see if it's correlated with a certain food I'm eating. And I haven't noticed that it is yet. My small intestines seem to be absorbing what they need to. In the past, when I have had sick small intestine, I have lost weight, and I have not lost weight. I have been my 92 pounds, and that has not gone anywhere. So, we'll say thank you all for watching this very long series about my colonoscopy, ileoscopy, dilation, follow-up with GI, all that fun stuff. And if you are in a similar situation, please share with me, and we can commiserate with each other. So, alright guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.